Hello, Dr. Sullivan. Going to be doing the guided imagery assignment for week 5. Going to be going over swinging a baseball bat for softball players, because that's the team that I'm overviewing over at CBU. So, developing imagery. Obviously, we have the Petlet model. Already went over the fact that we're swinging a bat, so that's going to be the skill that we're looking for. Start considering the physical nature of the movement. So let's think about walking up to the plate. Let's think about digging our feet into that already divoted out portion on either side of the home plate. Feel the bat in your hands. Make sure you tighten that grip. Consider the weight of the bat. Think about prepping for that pitch as you start to load, start to tighten, start to move your feet, start to move your hips, start thinking about swinging that bat across your body. Consider how you're generating your power from the ground. Think about that chain of movement that we're doing. Consider making contact, or consider the thought of how the contact when you hit the ball and the force and the vibration through the bat going through your hands. Make sure we're thinking about our environment. Consider where we're at. Is it going to be open air? Most likely, right? We're playing softball. We're not going to be inside anywhere. Think about the pitcher in front of you. Think about all the outfielders. Consider the pitcher standing right behind you. Thinking about the umpire. Hearing the crowd. Hearing your coaches. Hearing your teammates. Type of task. Remember, think about what we're doing. Swing a baseball bat. Consider all of your practices. Consider all of your experience. Consider all your prior games. Thinking about swinging that bat at this point. We're at a D1 college level. This is probably something we've done thousands and thousands of times at this point. We should really be able to hone in and think and recall all the times that we've done this before. Timing of movement. So while we're doing our imagery, obviously it's really nice to be able to have the time to slow things down, think about it at our own pace, build our plan, really consider from the ground up how we're moving, how things are going to be happening. But when we're at plate and somebody's throwing a pitch at us, how long is it actually realistically going to be taking? Maybe a couple of seconds at most. All we're really waiting for is the pitcher to wind up. Once that ball leaves their hand, we're talking fractions of a second that it's taking to reach you, and you're swinging, whether you make contact or don't make contact. This is not going to be some 20, 30-second thing. We are talking well under 5 seconds. Content of the movement. Again, something that we should have done thousands of times at this point. Really think about and consider our timings for everything. Think about where we're pulling our power from. Think about how we're generating rotational torque, right? We're digging our feet into the ground. We're rotating through our feet, up into our ankles, rotating through our core, swinging and extending our shoulders to then our elbows, to then our wrists. It's not just, willy-nilly. At this point, we should all be pretty good with that one. Should know chain of movement. We should know the order and things that are happening. Emotion. Obviously, this is going to probably be where we're at for most softball players at this point for the college level, right? We should have technique down for the most part. Maybe very small, tiny, minor fixes. This is where a lot of it's going to be for most of the softball players. It's going to be anxiety for performance. It could be maybe they haven't been playing well and that's bothering them. Maybe this is a really big game that's super important that they really, really need to win. Maybe this is our tournament game, and if we lose this one, well, looks like we're not making it any further, and this is where our season ends. So we really got to try to think about and fight that anxiety. Try not to get too excited. Try not to get too impatient. Try not to let things affect you too badly. Try not to rush through what's going on, especially when we're doing our guided imagery. We have time here. We're not at home plate yet. We aren't swinging. So we can take the time, practice, make sure that we are doing our best while we're here to be in a calm, steady, focused mindset. So then that way, once we get to home plate, we can already kind of have that patterning built up for our mindset. So when it does get to that, I'm standing here for a couple of seconds, maybe at max before I swing, we can already kind of have that pre-game game plan, done, over with, and we're just following the tracks that we've already laid previously. Again, making sure we're staying focused, we're attentive. Perspective. For perspective, I mean, we could go internal or external. I think for an external perspective, I think in this scenario it would probably be beneficial for those individuals who maybe do need assistance when it comes to how they're swinging. Maybe they have some mechanics and skills that they're still practicing and maybe need to touch up on a little bit. I think that's probably where external perspective would be really helpful in the situation. Thinking about yourself from that third person, really pull yourself out and see that 360 view around yourself. Consider how you're moving visually, conceptualize it, and think about what it is that you need to change. See what it is that you're actively doing now versus the change that you want to see. For an internal perspective, I would say that this is probably a little bit more along the lines of where we'll lay. Kind of looking more for that emotional aspect like we were talking about a second ago, really trying to make sure that we're honed in. We're not thinking about other things. We're just really attentive and focused on the task at hand, making sure we're not freaking out too much, making sure anxiety's, relatively managed. We're not nerves, right? We're not freaking out. We're not shaking. We're not about to have a panic attack. Nothing crazy like that. And just really make sure that we're experiencing that as best as we can through guided imagery and try to make that a one-to-one connection of being at home plate the same way you would experience it while there during a game. All right, that's all I got. Thank you.